Hello traders, Rich here and welcome to Kucoin as episode 14, and today we are going to go over KCS analysis. If you don't know about Kucoin, it's one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world with over 700 billion traded volume on the platform and 10 million registered users from more than 200 different countries. Kucoin has many features like margin trading, spot trading, trading bots, mining pools, staking, lending, and many more with over 700 listed coins. If you don't have an account yet, I'll make sure to attach my referral link in the description below. And if you create an account through it, you'll benefit from 20% discounts on your trading fees. So let's get started. And as usual, cheers. So we can clearly see that we are still overall bearish. We had our first impulse movement pushing price lower, a correction, and then we are currently in this next impulse movement. Of course, later on, from a long-term perspective, we'll be expecting after this impulse a correction before we finally break it upward. Then and only then we can say that we have a shift in momentum from bearish to bullish, and we are now overall bullish. And then every correction movement or every bearish movement will be a correction to expect the next impulse movement pushing higher. While for now, every impulse movement would be pushing the price lower, and every bullish movement would be simply a correction before the next bearish impulse movement starts. If you remember, if you watched the previous episode number 11, where we also went over KCS, we were above the 10 round number, which is also a support area, has been acting as support previously, broken downward, now resistance, broken upward, support, and again and again. And price was retesting this area. That's why we were looking for buy stops. We don't buy blindly. We always wait for extra confirmation and trigger that the buyers are finally rejecting the support and taking over. However, we can clearly see that we've got a big bearish candle closing below the 10 support. So now the support area is acting as a resistance, and we're expecting further movement downward, of course, unless the bulls reclaim the support by breaking above this previous high. In this case, this would be a fake out before the bulls take over and a correction movement up would be expected. Meanwhile, and until this happens, the bears are in control or like remains in control, and we can expect a movement lower to the next support, like starting from round number 7. Anyway, if you zoom into lower time frames, you can see it even better. That's the view from daily. This is our last major high that we want the bulls to break above to reclaim the support around like round number 11. And if you zoom even lower, we can see that we are currently bearish. If you remember, we had this trend line, a similar trend line on episode number 11. Our first impulse, a correction, and we're expecting like a head and shoulders pattern to form here, and this would be our neckline, which obviously didn't happen. We kept on moving lower. That's the power of always waiting for extra confirmation before you buy or sell. So our first impulse, a correction, our next impulse, a correction. Like this impulse broke below the 10 round number and support, and the correction is retesting this like support, now acting as a resistance. So now we're expecting a movement lower. The confirmation would be after a break below this previous low. Once we break below it, just like previously, if you want, below the previous low, we went lower, below the previous low, we went lower. So if you break below this area, then we can expect further bearish movement downward till around the 7, as mentioned previously. So starting from this area here till around the 5, which is a big support zone and also a demand, since we previously had an aggressive movement upwards from it. That's for the trend continuation, or for the bears to reject the 10 resistance and trade lower. Now for the bulls to take over, as you can see, I have 2 alerts here. We've got 2 possible scenarios. The first one is from a short-term perspective. As you can see, we've got a minus supply resistance here. Let me go for orange, right? That's it. So it was acting as support, broken downward, resistance, and resistance again. For the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above this high, which is also the support and resistance, which would also be a break above the trend line, so the price would invalidate the overall bearish channel, and also above the 10 round number. Let me add it so you can see it, right? So this is it. This is from a short-term perspective. Of course, from a medium-term perspective, for extra confirmation, we are waiting for this high here, which was our head and shoulders neckline, if you remember from last time. it's a confirmation. I want to see this. In this case, when this happens, we'll be expecting further movement upward to the next resistance, which is around 15 round number, and also the upper trend line here, which we saw from weekly time frame. Meanwhile, until this happens as an early alert that the buyers are taking over, and then this as a confirmation, the bears can still take over. And as I mentioned previously, for them to kick in and make the next impulse movement downward, we need to see a break below this low. So that's it for today. Let me know which topic you would like me to cover in the next episode, or if you want, like, you can request a specific altcoin that you want me to go over next. Best of luck, and I'll see you hopefully on the next one.